We also have Kojo Brace joining us. We're trying to find out how the E-Levy is affecting online business. Kojo is interacting with some Ghanaians as far as online business is concerned. That's up next. Do stay.
Around Achimota, and in an office where everything here is about providing services for online businesses. There's one man who provides service for people and they pay through Momo, and then we have an IT person who would help us understand how these things, how people who provide services online can go about all of this E-Levy transactions. Chief, for you who provide services for people to pay for you online through Momo, how has the past few days been from Sunday to today?
Okay, so we have a platform called SkillMine. We provide safe and secure business transactions between freelancers, those who work remotely, and those who have services, known as the gig owners. So those with the services contact the freelancers to do businesses with them, and the payments are being done through Momo because it's a remote job. So once you offer a service to the gig owner and the payment is being done, you are being charged on the amount you send to the freelancer. So let's say you charge 300 cedis. You are going to be charged the tax on the 300 cedis, the E-Levy tax on the 300 cedis, and the service charges also. And this has made things very difficult for us. But when you look at our platform, we have a merchant platform that payments are being done to. So when you do a business with us directly and you are making the payment, you make the payment to us, which is a merchant account, without being charged. Okay. So you see, and it's very safe. So the monies that you send to us, to the service, to the freelancer, is not being charged at all. But it has become very difficult because people think that once they offer services, they are going to be charged. And people tend to be in the middle, not really want to do businesses with freelancers. But with our platform, I can say that it's safe.
But if you look at the introduction of the E-Levy and the implementation we started on 1st May, how has that impacted on the people who do business with you?
Seriously, we've been receiving messages and calls that they are now going to withdraw their services because they can't have it that they charge a client 400 cedis and the clients are not willing to add the charges to it.
Oh. So they want their client to pay the charge plus the E-Levy that they will be deducted?
Exactly, because I will charge you 400 cedis to do something for you. And when you send me the 400 cedis, you'll be charged. So meaning that you, that I'm providing the services for, is going to pay more than 400 cedis. So you, or the person I'm offering the services to, is not comfortable, is not happy, and wants me to take up the charges, which is really, really affecting my business. So what I have to do is to reduce the charge. If the thing is supposed to cost 400 cedis, I have to reduce it to maybe 380 cedis, so that when they pay together with the E-Levy, it will amount to maybe 400 cedis, which is really, really bad. It's really, really bad, and it's affecting businesses. A lot of people have started withdrawing. Those that contacted us earlier on to have their services done with us have called us that we should hold on. They'll get back to us. They don't know if the E-Levy, they are going to take it back or they will still go on to implement it.
Interesting. For you, Henry, you have been in the IT space for some time. How do you help people like him address their challenges or their issues with this E-Levy thing?
All right, so let me first of all say that the taxes is not a big deal. I mean, I always say that taxes is what builds the country. But generally, I think that the implementation of this particular E-Levy has always been in a rush. First of all, because second, and when you're looking at the implementation, whenever you're implementing tech systems, you go through a bit of policies and in the IT sector where it goes through engineering as well before it gets to the people. Usually, you should actually be piloting certain parts of the E-Levy so that people sort of merge into where there's supposed to be a lot of education that comes in. I mean, for his platform, you'd realize that people that are paying to him pay to him without paying the E-Levy because the merchant account. But if he's moving money to the individual people that they are transacting on his businesses, he has to pay E-Levy on all of them. And so that becomes a bit difficult because the person who is paying in does not pay the E-Levy, does not consider the E-Levy. But when he is now distributing the money across board, that becomes a bit of a challenge. Now, you'd realize that people are even trying to now find ways and means around dodging. I've seen a lot of TikTok videos and YouTube videos of how to dodge E-Levy. I mean, if you're looking at some of those videos, you would laugh because you'd realize that you try running away from these levies, but it's an electronic platform. You can't always run away because there are certain points where you would be forced to use the platform and you would be charged at different points. You're getting the point. And so for his, I mean, I think that what I can really help him in that regard because it's a policy, it's a law, and these are algorithms that are running around all the electronic platforms. And so what generally could be done really is, I think that the GRA should step in and do a lot more education. Because I think that people don't even know that there are exemptions and all of that. People don't know that when you're doing deposits, you're not being charged. When you're doing withdrawals, you're not being charged. So there's quite a lot of things. I've seen them ring out a long PDF format where you have to read. But our mothers and fathers who are in the farms and then the marketplaces cannot read essentially everything that is there.
So as an IT consultant, people like him are complaining that their customers are complaining of how they have to add on to the levy, and that has even come about him reducing the cost of charging or how much he charges people for a service. What must be done between the service provider and the customer?
I think from their part as well, they should actually be doing a lot of education. I've seen STC like this release Facebook post saying that they are not going to be charged E-Levy. And so it makes it easy for somebody to say, okay, I can still buy a ticket at STC without being charged. I've seen DSTV do the same. And so that means that the entities that are sort of exempted because they are merchants can sort of also do education in their own small part, or on their Facebook, send direct messages to their customers via SMS or via WhatsApp. However channel they seem to be communicating with their customers, they should be able to be going through that process, right? So I think that, again, from our point as IT experts, we sort of also have to now deploy these systems on their systems. And so notifications on their systems should also be very seamless. To those who are being the cost which comes up, I've seen one bank, when I was doing the transactions, they clearly deducted everything that was a charge. And so it made it easier for me to sort of appreciate how much I'm being charged and how much I'm not being charged. And so it makes it transparent enough for people to sort of appreciate that, okay, I'm paying E-Levy on this particular service, I'm not paying E-Levy on this particular service. But I think the education is the way to go now. I think that that's the only point where people could start interacting with their customers and getting them to sort of understand their position, whether they're exempted or they're not exempted.
So for businesses that rely on online services, like you buy and I supply online, and then you pay to me online as well. What they could do now, you described it as terrible?
Yeah.
Why so?
Because they are going to stand in the point where they are in the P2P point, and the P2P point definitely is going to catch up with you in terms of the transaction. So now this is what's going to happen. If I supply you goods, you bring a delivery guy to me. If I'm paying the delivery guy, I have to pay him and I'll be charged E-Levy. If I'm paying to the person who is not by me, I can't give the physical cash. Now this is what happens. Even if I have physical cash, I can't charge the delivery guy to be giving the money to the person. And so that means that I'll be caught up in that angle. I'll pay E-Levy on the transaction. Now, if I'm also supposed to also pay, let's say, my major suppliers, I'll be charged E-Levy. Double taxations there, right? And so that cycle really is a terrible point for quite a lot of people. And so I think that what will happen is that a lot of these people are going to be forced, maybe that's the intention of government, to sort of force a lot of these businesses to get into the registered businesses area, where now they would actually be able to acquire merchant terms and then be able to just be exempted out of the taxes. At least when they are within that sector, they pay other taxes which can actually be monitored and all of that. Because if you are a registered business business like his, you'd realize that you are not being charged the E-Levy whenever transactions are coming in because you have a merchant SIM. But if you're doing a P2P, you're done. Yeah.
All right, so you're still listening to the, watching the AM show. We are out here speaking to business owners and people who transact business online. They buy and sell online. People pay them through Momo, and how their reaction has been. Chief, so you heard him there, that the thing that some of you should do is to educate your client. And for people like you, whose businesses have not probably been registered, to register. From this angle, how are you approaching your customer relations to get them to appreciate what is at hand?
Well, I can say that we all now know that E-Levy is a reality. And maybe from what he said, we have to intensify our education and make sure that our customers understand that after paying to us and we are transferring the monies to back to the freelancers that offer the services, we are rather bearing the cost. So if we are to reduce our monies or our charges, it will rather affect us. And if they affect us, we won't be able to stay in business to carry.
So if I understand you, when you are transferring the money to the people who provided the service per se, what do you call them?
Freelancers.
The freelancers. You pay E-Levy on it.
Yes,
okay.
Exactly. So let's say you pay me to do a service for you, and you pay it through our merchants or to our system, and the freelancer is done. When we are transferring the money to their account or to their account, we pay E-Levy on it. Okay. So let's say if we decide to reduce the charges for you and you pay, and we are now going to bear the cost, we will run out and we won't be able to stay in business to provide those wonderful services that we have for you. So what we will appeal to our customers out there, that the E-Levy has become a reality. So they should bear with us and to understand us, that this is what we've come. We have to pay taxes to help build the country.
Does this apply to all online suppliers, people who do business, social media, and what have you?
Yes. Recently, we heard the finance minister saying that they are going to start taxing those online businesses, those having businesses on social media. So it applies to all of them.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Okay. Thank you very much. So I guess you've had a lot of info from these two gentlemen who do business online. Let's continue the discussion. This is a continuous process. So let's keep discussing wherever we are. Join us on our social media platforms. Let's talk about this so that we all know where we will be moving to from here. Like they said, if you pay taxes, it's good. We only have to continue educating ourselves so we'll know where we'll be going from here. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining us. And thank you for catching up with us. So from Achimota, back to you, those in the studio. Thank you, guys.
From Achimota, we're here, right here in Kukumlime still doing the do. But today is an interesting day when it comes to court, right?
Exactly, and the E-Levy, and we've got our men on the ground monitoring events, and we'll furnish you with all the details in subsequent bulletins. If we get any before we leave, we will definitely bring you the minorities case in court seeking an injunction on this particular E-Levy implementation. Although the implementation has happened already, we just wonder what it's going to look like. But you
what will the court say?
Yes, you spoke to Martin People earlier on the show.
And of course he didn't want to
commit
shoot
himself
ahead of what the court would say, but he had his own position when it comes to injunctions of that nature, because what they do is they want to prevent a certain action. In this instance, he says if he were giving advice to government or giving counsel to government, he would have told them to hold it, don't roll out the implementation of the E-Levy, wait till the 4th, find out how things will pan out. Or better still, there was an alternative way. You reach out to the justicial system, and you know now courts sit on weekends and all of that. So just appeal to them to push the date forward. So they could have easily said, let's push the hearing to the 30th of April, and then you deal with the issue. And if it goes your way, then you can roll on with it. But they didn't do that. And now he feels that is a slap in the face of the judiciary, and that it was derisive, that action towards the judiciary. But it is what it is. Yeah. Today we find out how things will go.
Exactly, and we'll let you know everything about the E-Levy and that court case. But right here on the show, we'll take a quick breather. When we come back, we'll be taking your phone calls, talking about World Press Freedom Day. And if you're a business owner who uses the online electronic payment platform, let us know how the E-Levy is affecting your business. Do stay with us. We'll be back shortly.